If you think beauty is a gift, you've never been to Black Alder Forest. They say the trees there don't grow straight. They lean, they bend, like they're trying to get closer to something, or someone. 3 women had vanished in the last 4 years. No bodies, no evidence. Just abandoned backpacks and cracked phone screens found deep between the pines. Every single one of them shared the same detail. Young, striking, unforgettable. Elena Voss didn't believe in cursed forests. She believed in lighting, angles, and perfect shots. A wildlife photographer with over 1 million followers, she was known for capturing danger up close. Storms, cliffs, wild animals. Fear made her famous. When she heard the rumors about Black Alder Forest, she saw opportunity. Mara Quinn did not. "It's not a ghost story, Elena. It's a pattern," Mara said as they drove up the winding mountain road. Fog curled around the headlights like something alive. Elena adjusted her camera bag. "Forests don't target people, Mara. People get lost." But as they crossed the wooden boundary sign, "Welcome to Black Alder," the air changed. The temperature dropped sharply, though it was midsummer. The birds went silent. Even Elena noticed that. They hiked 2 miles in before setting up camp. The forest floor was thick with black soil and pale mushrooms that almost glowed in the shade. The trees were unnaturally tall, their bark smooth and gray, almost like skin. Mara kept checking her phone. No signal. That night, Elena stepped away from camp to capture long exposure shots of the moon filtering through the trees. The forest looked beautiful through her lens, dreamlike. Then she noticed something strange. Her camera kept refocusing on its own. She frowned and adjusted it manually, but again, the focus shifted. Not to the trees, not to the sky. To her reflection in the lens, and behind her reflection, something taller stood between the trees. Elena turned instantly. Nothing, just trunks and darkness. Her heart thudded. She told herself it was exhaustion, overactive imagination. She walked back to camp without mentioning it, but as she lay awake in her tent, she heard something moving outside, not walking, circling, slow, measured, and stopping every time she held her breath. In the morning, Mara found footprints around their campsite. Bare footprints, too long to be human, and pressed deep into the soil, only around Elena's tent, not Mara's, not the supplies, just her. Elena laughed it off. "Someone's messing with us." But Mara didn't laugh, because every missing woman had last been seen near this exact ridge, and every one of them had been alone when it happened. By noon, they found something half buried beneath the roots of a leaning tree. A silver pendant. Mara recognized it instantly from the news articles. It belonged to Lena Moreau, the last woman who disappeared. And the tree's roots weren't just growing around it. They were tightening around it, like fingers. And somewhere deep in the forest, something shifted. Not wind, not an animal. Something aware, watching, waiting. For Elena. Mara wanted to leave immediately. "Elena, this isn't coincidence anymore." But Elena's pulse was racing. Not from fear, from adrenaline. This was bigger than wildlife photography, bigger than storms or predators. If there was a story here, she would be the one to capture it. That afternoon, they encountered Ranger Caleb Thorne. He appeared silently on the trail as if the forest itself had delivered him. "You shouldn't be this far in," he said calmly. His eyes lingered on Elena longer than necessary. Not in admiration, in concern. "We're just hiking," Elena replied. Caleb glanced at the pendant in her hand. "You found something that wasn't yours." The air thickened. "You know about Lena?" Mara asked. Caleb didn't answer directly. "Black Alder doesn't like attention." "That's ridiculous," Elena said. Caleb stepped closer. "It doesn't take everyone, only certain ones." "Certain how?" Mara pressed. He hesitated. "Women who stand out. Women who draw eyes without trying. Elena almost rolled her eyes. So the forest has taste? Caleb didn't smile. It reacts to presence, to energy. Some people shine brighter here. A cold chill crept under Elena's skin. Is that why they disappeared? Caleb's voice dropped lower. They weren't taken immediately. The forest studies first. Studies? Mara whispered. Caleb pointed subtly toward the trees. You'll notice it doesn't move when both of you are together. Elena glanced around. The forest was still, silent. But when one of you steps away, a branch cracked somewhere deeper inside the woods. All three of them froze. It came again, closer. Slow steps dragging against soil. Caleb's jaw tightened. You need to leave before sunset. But Elena felt it now. That awareness, that attention. It wasn't random. It was fixed on her, not in hatred. In fascination, as if she were rare prey or something precious. That evening, Elena insisted on capturing one last set of photos at the edge of a clearing Caleb warned them about. The clearing was perfectly circular, no trees in the center, just dark earth. Beautiful, too perfect. She stepped into it. The temperature dropped instantly, her breath fogged. The forest began to hum, low and vibrating like distant chanting beneath the soil. Elena, Mara called nervously. Elena raised her camera. The shutter snapped, and for a split second the world shifted. The trees leaned inward, all of them, like an audience, and from beneath the ground, pale root-like tendrils pushed upward, writhing. Elena stumbled back. The clearing went still again, but her camera screen displayed something impossible. Her photo showed her standing alone in the clearing, except behind her. Dozens of elongated silhouettes towered between the trees, all facing her, all reaching, and one stood closer than the rest, almost touching her shoulder. She hadn't felt it. Until now, something brushed her hair, soft, curious, claiming. Part 3. They ran. Caleb didn't argue anymore. He grabbed his radio, but it was dead. No signal, no static, just silence. The forest had sealed itself. As they hurried down the trail, the path looked unfamiliar. Trees that hadn't been there before now blocked their way. The sky dimmed unnaturally fast, though sunset was hours away. It's reshaping, Caleb muttered. Forests don't reshape, Elena snapped, breathless. But even she could see it. The trees weren't rooted the way normal trees were. Their bases twisted and pulsed subtly like muscles tightening beneath bark. A scream echoed suddenly. High, human. Not Elena, not Mara. It came from deeper inside the forest. Mara's face went pale. That's impossible, Caleb whispered. It repeats what it collects. The scream came again, this time clearer. Help me! It was Lena Moreau's voice. Elena froze. That's a recording. It has to be. But it wasn't mechanical. It was desperate, raw. They followed it despite Caleb's protests. The forest wanted them separated, and it succeeded. A thick wall of roots shot up between Mara and Elena, splitting them apart. Elena! Mara's voice faded. Elena turned and found herself alone. The silence returned instantly. Then the trees began leaning again. Closer, closer. The ground beneath her feet softened like wet clay. She tried to move, but her boots sank slightly, held in place. The elongated silhouette stepped forward from between the trunks. It wasn't solid. It wasn't entirely shadow. It was composed of intertwined roots, bark, and something almost skeletal beneath. Its face was smooth wood, except for a vertical split that opened slowly. Not a mouth, a seam. And from that seam, a whisper, "Stay." Elena's heart pounded violently. "Why me?" she demanded. The entity tilted its head. Behind it, dozens more shapes shifted. Brightness. Images flooded her mind. Women walking through the forest, the trees subtly adjusting around them, roots brushing ankles, bark smoothing like skin, admiration, obsession. The forest didn't hate beauty, it preserved it. It absorbed it, kept it. Lena's face flashed before her, eyes open but trapped within bark. The missing women weren't dead. They were inside, merged, watching through wood and leaf. The entity reached toward Elena's cheek, not violently, tenderly, and for a terrifying second, she felt the forest pulling at her skin like threads being gently tugged, inviting her to stay forever. Perfect, untouched by time, admired eternally. Her fear twisted into something more dangerous. Temptation. "Elena, don't listen to it!" Mara's voice broke through the haze like a blade. Caleb crashed through the brush behind her, carrying a flare gun. The red flare shot into the air, exploding in blinding light. The forest shrieked, not with sound, but with vibration. Every tree convulsed violently. The entity recoiled, its wooden surface cracking under the flare's glow. Elena gasped as her boots loosened from the soil. The tendrils around her ankles snapped back underground. "Run!" Caleb shouted. This time, Elena didn't hesitate. They sprinted blindly downhill, branches slashing at their arms. The whispers followed, growing angrier. The forest no longer sounded fascinated. It sounded betrayed. As they crossed the wooden boundary sign again, the pressure lifted instantly. The air warmed. Birds chirped. Everything looked normal, too normal. Caleb collapsed to his knees, breathing heavily. "It won't cross the line." Mara grabbed Elena's shoulders. "Are you okay?" Elena nodded, but her reflection in Mara's eyes looked different, quieter. They left before nightfall. Authorities searched after hearing their report. They found nothing unusual in Black Alder Forest, no clearing, no strange roots, no pendant. It was as if the forest had erased its fingerprints. Weeks passed. Elena tried returning to her normal life, editing photos, posting content, but every image she captured now had something subtle in it, in reflections, in shadows, in tree lines, a faint, elongated silhouette, always near her, watching. One night, while reviewing footage from that final day, she paused on a single frame, the flare illuminating the clearing. For a split second before the light exploded, you could see dozens of faces in the bark of the trees. Peaceful, eyes open, not screaming, not suffering, serene, like they were part of something larger, something eternal. Elena stared at her own reflection in the dark screen. Her skin looked flawless, almost polished, her veins faintly branching like delicate roots beneath the surface. She touched her cheek. The forest had let her leave, but not empty. Somewhere deep inside her chest, something hummed softly, waiting. And outside her apartment window, a small sapling had begun growing through the concrete overnight, its bark smooth and gray, leaning toward her.